Good morning, children. I hope that everybody are staying fit at your home, right? So coming to the study materials, I guess that everybody is receiving those study materials in a proper sequence and you are keeping it separately in a folder for your future reference. And regarding the query, please let me know if you're having any problem with any of the chapters, any part of it. I will come back to you surely according to the requirements. Okay, so we'll start with our online lesson for today. We will start with the next part of our chapter, tissue. So in the last class we have studied about the types of tissues, and we have studied the two types of tissues are present. One is meristematic tissue, another one is permanent tissue. So in the last lesson we have studied about the details of meristematic tissue, right? The apical, intercalary and lateral meristem, and in this lesson we'll start with the permanent tissues. So firstly, what is a permanent tissue? So this permanent tissue is a group of cells which is derived from the meristematic tissues and have lost the power of division. So from the name you can understand permanent means it cannot be divided. It is not temporary, it is permanent. Okay. So this permanent tissues, they are definitely derived from where? From the meristematic tissues which are being able to divide, and they form a group of cells. So ultimately this development process is taking place. How? It is derived from meristematic tissue and the permanent tissue. They are taking up the shape, size and function, and that particular process is referred to as what? Differentiation. So according to the functions, this permanent tissue are of three types mainly. What are those? Simple permanent tissue, complex permanent tissue and protective permanent tissue. So I will just show you one chart. So here if you see, I think it is visible to everybody. So this permanent plant tissue, these are the non-dividing cells which is having three: supportive or simple or complex, then protective and conductive. So this supportive permanent tissue, it is consisting of three types. So the simple permanent tissue is consisting of three types. What are those? Parenchyma, collenchyma and sclerenchyma. And this protective tissue, it don't have any types. It is the epidermis which is being present. The conducting tissue, it is a vascular ones, and it is consisting of two types. It is xylem and phloem. So this is what we can consider as the flowchart of permanent plant tissue. Now we'll move on to that part again. So here you can see that the simple permanent tissues, it can be divided into three types: parenchyma, collenchyma and sclerenchyma. So we will move on to these tissues, their characteristics and functions, and we'll find out the differences in between these three. So firstly, we'll start with parenchyma. What is this? This parenchyma, it forms the bulk of the plant body. That is, it consists of thin-walled living cells. It is very important. Firstly, it is living in nature and it is thin-walled. The second one is the cells are isodiametric. What does this isodiametric means? It means that they are equally expanded on all sides. Iso means same and diameter, all of you know, right? So this is equally expanded on all sides. The cell wall, as I have mentioned, is thin and encloses a dense cytoplasm which contains a small nucleus and a large central vacuole. So all of you have the idea of cytoplasm you have read in the previous chapter. So what is this cytoplasm? This is present. This is a matrix which is present inside the cell, and the nucleus is also present. These details also you have studied in the first chapter, right? So this cytoplasm and nucleus both are present, and a large central vacuole is also present. What was the function of the vacuole we have studied? It maintains the shape and rigidity of the cell. Next is the intercellular spaces are abundant. So the large intercellular spaces are present in this parenchyma tissue. Next is the parenchyma is present in the organs of the plants, that is roots, stems, leaves, flowers, fruits and seeds. So this is a location of the source in which the parenchyma tissue exists. So what is the function? Firstly, this parenchyma tissue is important for the storage of food. For example, what? For example, the starch in the parenchyma of cortex of potato tuber. You have seen the potato tuber. So the starch is being stored in the parenchyma of cortex over there. Next point is, this parenchyma, it forms a framework of all plant organs. So this framework is being present in this parenchyma tissue as a function. Why? Because in this point we have studied the cell wall is thin, so cell wall is being present, and we know the cell wall, it provides a skeletal framework. Next is the parenchyma. It serves as a packing tissue to fill the spaces between other tissues. Why packing tissue? Because we have studied that this parenchyma, it consists of the intercellular spaces. Next is it stores waste materials of plants such as gums and crystals. So this acts as a storage of waste materials also. Firstly, we have studied acts as a storage of food. So it acts as a storage of waste materials also. Next is the intercellular spaces of parenchyma cells allows gaseous exchange. So in the presence of these intercellular spaces, we have studied that this tissue are having intercellular spaces which is abundant. So this spaces, as because it is more, it also helps in gaseous exchange of the plants. If chloroplast is present, the parenchyma tissue is called chlorenchyma and it performs photosynthesis. So whenever it is being seen that in the parenchyma tissue, the chloroplast is present, it is referred to as chlorenchyma. And as because chloroplast is present, it can easily perform what? Photosynthesis. That is a process of food making. Another type of parenchyma tissue is present which is called aerenchyma. What is that? Specifically in the aquatic plants, it is seen that there are some large air cavities which are being present and which helps those plants to specifically float on the water. And that floating process is called buoyancy. Right? So two types of parenchyma tissues we have studied. One is chlorenchyma, another one is aerenchyma. Chlorenchyma is what? Chlorenchyma is able to photosynthesize because of the presence of chloroplast, and aerenchyma is the parenchyma tissue is present specifically in the aquatic plants which helps the plants to float on the water. Okay, so next we'll move on to collenchyma. Firstly, coming to the characters of collenchyma, this collenchyma is usually found 3 to 4 layers beneath epidermis in stained petiole leaves of herbaceous dicot plants. So what is the source? It is present just below the epidermis layer, where in stained petioles, you know what is a petiole? The stalk of the flower, and leaves of the herbaceous dicot plants. So it is present over here. Next is the cells of this tissue, they are also living as that of parenchyma. They are elongated and irregularly thickened at the corner. So this point is very important. So these thickenings were not present in parenchyma. This thickening is one of the important characters of collenchyma. Next, in collenchymas, intercellular spaces are generally absent. So in this one again you can see another difference. The intercellular spaces were present in parenchyma, it was abundant, whereas in case of collenchyma, the intercellular spaces are generally absent. So what is the function? Its function is, firstly, it provides mechanical support, protection, flexibility and elasticity to the plant organs. So these as a together, it providing protection, mechanical support and flexibility as well as elasticity to the plant organs. Next is it allows easy bending in various parts of the plane without breaking. That means what? As I've mentioned in the first point, it is flexible as well as elasticity is present. So obviously it will help in easy bending of the various parts, and that also without the breaking of the plant parts. Third is, when the cells of the collenchymas, it contains chloroplast, they manufacture sugar and starch. So whenever the collenchymas, they are containing chloroplast, they can easily manufacture sugar and starch. Why? Because wherever chloroplast is being present, the plants can be able to photosynthesize, and thereby the sugar and starch can be easily manufactured out. The next type of tissue we'll move on to is sclerenchyma. So first characters, sclerenchyma are dead cells in the devoid of protoplasm. The first point we can find out the difference between the previous ones. The first two, the parenchyma and collenchyma, they both were living, whereas the sclerenchyma, these are the dead ones and they does not consist of any protoplasm. We have read in the cell chapter that the cells which are living only, they can consist of the protoplasm, right? So the sclerenchyma, as because they're dead, they are devoid of the protoplasm. You remember what is protoplasm? The cytoplasm along with the nucleus is referred to as a protoplasm, right? So this protoplasm is lacking because they are dead. Secondly, they are long and narrow. As the walls are thickened due to lignin, such walls are called lignified. So their walls, if you can see, their walls are long and narrow and the walls are very much thickened. Why? Because the presence of lignin is there. And as because lignin is there, they are referred to as a lignified cell walls. Thirdly, the cells of sclerenchyma are closely packed without intercellular spaces. So, as that of collenchyma, these sclerenchyma also does not have any intercellular spaces in them. So only parenchyma is having the intercellular space. Next is the cells of sclerenchyma are of two types. What are those? Fibers and sclerites. Fibers are how they consist of very long, narrow, thick and lignified cells, and sclerites, they are irregular shape. Those fibers, they are having a particular shape which is narrow, thick and long, and as well as lignin is present, and the sclerites, they are present but they are very much irregularly shaped. Last point is what? This tissue is present in stems around vascular bundles, in the veins of the leaves, and in the hard covering of seeds and nuts. The husk of the coconut is made up of sclerenchymatous tissue. So this is the location of this sclerenchymatous tissue. What is the function? The sclerenchyma is mainly mechanical and protective in function, as because there are presence of lignin, so this cell wall is very much strong, so they can easily provide mechanical as well as protective function. Secondly, it gives strength, rigidity, flexibility and elasticity to the plant body, and thus enables it to withstand the various strains. So any type of unfavorable conditions the plants can withstand in presence of sclerenchyma. So now we'll see the diagrams. So firstly, this one, this two, you can see these are the parenchyma, these two are the collenchyma, and these two are the sclerenchyma. This is the transverse section, this is a longitudinal section, this is again transverse section, longitudinal section, and this is also transverse section, and this is longitudinal section. So firstly, coming to parenchyma, from the diagram you can see that the intercellular spaces are prominent over here, and you can see the vacuoles, they are large, okay, and the chloroplast is being also present in addition to cytoplasm as well as nucleus. So these things are present within this parenchyma. Next, coming to collenchyma, if you see this collenchyma, they are having this thickenings at the corners of their walls, right? So they are having annular thickenings at the cell walls, right? And the nucleus is definitely present in presence of the vacuole, and the cell wall is also present. Apart from this, here you can see the sclerenchyma, it is a narrow lumen, right? The lignified cell wall, you can see it is thick in nature because of the presence of lignin, and it is providing the mechanical support to the plant. So I hope that these three types of simple permanent tissues is clear to everybody, right? So thank you so much.